Yo, what's good, everyone? Al Trataros here with another Knicks episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And what means also my cousin pal, the man with the plan, the one and only, John Meleka. But before we ask John how he's doing, everyone, I need you to go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to give us that 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave that comment. On top of that, if you're not subscribed to the podcast at all, make sure to go to any audio listening platform and subscribe to this pod. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it, we are there. On top of that, we are on YouTube now. So make sure to go to that chat. Make sure to go to the channel, subscribe. And while you're over there, we got Winning Picks Weekly. John and video producer Greg go down the NFL slate. They're going to do some NBA betting as well. They're going to give you their takes. Make sure that you're locked and ready to go whenever you place money on the line. All right. And then
championship week is out.
Let's go. And then last and certainly not least, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, we are there. But John, my man, how you doing today, bro? How are you feeling today? I see you're texting me saying you're up in spaces. You become a Randle apologist somehow. Magic. I don't know how this is happening. It is quite a change of events.
Things are happening. I mean, who is shocked that we got smacked by the Heat? I don't know what that really changed. I mean, the Cavs, we were really upset about that one too. I mean, all these teams are really good, but here we are. Apparently, I'm the Randle apologist. Everyone is freaking out. We are 50 games in here, and we have fired the coach of the year. We have traded away our most improved player after we extended him. And all from doing nothing. We did nothing this offseason. I don't understand where the change was supposed to come from. We still didn't get a point guard. We still have issues, the same injury and foul issues at center. We have RJ, who is a microwave, and he's starting to maybe cook for a little longer, but we still don't have a shooting guard who could play defense. Like, I don't know. So here I am, a Randle apologist, because he's 8.5 feet away from the bench during timeouts, and apparently that's the most important thing in the whole world. So here I am. Like, I'm not the biggest Randle fan on the planet, but I don't know. I just. Well, let's get into it. We have Ari from Manhattan here, and we have a lot of trade talk to get into with the trade deadline coming up. And I just don't see the answer. Like, I don't know. Let's get into it, Alex. Let's get into it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's get into this. And as John said, we got returning guest almost a year to the day. We got Ari from Manhattan, Knicks Fan TV franchise caller. All right. All right. We got, what was it? Three-time Battle of the Fan champion, right?
That's right, baby.
Oh my
God. Four times now.
And then he makes the announcement. He had to make me sad last night after watching the post game this morning, saying he's not going to take on Papa Left. Come on, man. I was looking forward to this.
It wasn't that, but we'll get into it in a second. Yeah. Wasn't that,
man? Well, we got Ari here today because we got to talk, man. We got to talk with the man who's been calling it for a year plus now, especially since he dropped here. Got to trade Randle. So before we get into that, Ari, what is I know you go on Knicks Fan TV. When I'm there, when I'm not there, we hear you. We know your feelings on this team so far, but what are your feelings on this team right now?
All right. So first of all, before that, it's not that I'm temporarily retiring from the Battle of the Fans champs. I'm over it. Like, I just want to enjoy my life. When I'm ready to do it, I'll come back and I'll pick and choose. It'll be on my terms. I'll pick Papa Left. He'll do the venue I want. We'll blow it up, but it's on my terms. If he wants to challenge me, it's on my terms. But besides that, in regards to
Floyd Mayweather over here, I like it.
Yeah, this is like rough and rowdy Knicks Fan TV right
Listen,
here.
Listen, man, I'm not here. I'm not a show pony over here. It's when I want to do it at this point. I've earned that right after my Randle call. But yeah, man, state of the Knicks. Listen, if I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of like it, man, because now we have to sell the vets, man. I'm happy. I'm happy to watch it burn down. Obviously, like right now, like today, it's like a train wreck. I'm not happy what I see on the floor today. But the number one most important thing to me was, which direction we're going to go into. And I've always said I said it from 2 years now, even before I came on the pod. I want to build around the youth. I want to do a real rebuild. I don't want to chase these fake 4 seeds, try to compete when it's too premature. We're not a win now team. We shouldn't try to make win now moves. And if we have to be a complete dumpster fire in order to change Tibbs and have the front office acquiesce to the rebuild, then I'm all for it. So it's an absolute garbage what I'm watching, but in the long run, hopefully we'll make the right move. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. And just to so when you say you want a complete rebuild, because some people hear that and think tanking, like that we're just losing out, bottoming out. You want to like just build through the youth that we have and make them like the core centerpiece moving forward. Is that what you want?
So rebuilding and tanking, it gets connotated the same, but it's different. Tanking means, in my opinion, losing on purpose or trying to get a high draft pick. When rebuilding, in my opinion, means just where your priorities are. Instead of prioritizing necessarily winning this game, you're gonna prioritize player development and giving them minutes and having them grow. And you let where the chips fall as they may. I'm not trying to lose on purpose. I'm not trying to trade all the vets. I still keep Taj. I still keep Derrick Rose. But it's about a priority. Like I'm still okay with making cheap upgrades. Bringing in a cheap vet, to help this team fill a need. But I think the focus needs to be, instead of trying to make the playoffs, trying to, go somewhere. RJ Barrett's playing nice. Let's keep feeding him. Let's see what he's capable of. Let's bring Cam into the mix. Let's get quickly some more minutes. Let's get Obi some more minutes. Grimes definitely needs more minutes, and prioritize that first. But that doesn't mean losing on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
No, I agree with that. I'm all for developing. I like the idea of that rebuild because as we're seeing right now, man, it's ugly. And I was like, I was on board with saying, hey, let's do some of these cheap upgrades this season. Bring in Evan Fournier, bring in Kemba Walker. Let's see what you can do. Let's see if we can run it back and still develop some youth. But at this point, and I think it's obviously deeper than what's on the floor. There's something going on in the locker room. There's something going on with like the communication between the coaching, everything, because for this to be so out of whack from what we had last season, I don't know how you go a complete 180 where, yeah,
like
100%.
What are you bringing back? Like we got smacked in the playoffs. Like, yeah, you brought it back and here we are. Like, what are you bringing back, dude? Like this is
continuity. Continuity is the foundation.
This is continuing what happened in the playoffs. Like we all want the last year's regular season Knicks, and especially during that 9-game winning streak. I agree with you. I wish we were there. That's why we keep putting Burks in that starting lineup, and that was an anomaly. Like that shouldn't have happened. Okay, that 9-game win streak when Burks is out here scoring 20 a night and acting like Anthony Hardaway, like that is an anomaly. What happened in the playoffs, that is reality.
Exactly.
And we re-signed those guys. So we re-signed Randle, great. We got Noel back, amazing, right? We re-signed Burks, sounds good. Rose is hurt. We still don't have a point guard. We added Kemba Walker. He's minus $1 million. No matter what stats you look at, he's terrible. And then we signed Evan Fournier. He doesn't fit this team. He is literally Elfrid Payton. He comes in the first quarter, we run like 3 plays for him, and then we don't see him for the rest of the game. He's like I don't understand what we want from this team. We got what we ordered. Like we think that we were just gonna spend like 10 million on a couple guys and that's it. Like we were gonna eclipse what we did last year. It just doesn't make sense to me, and that's why I don't understand why you want to cut Tibbs. Like let's cut Tibbs now. Okay, yeah, sounds good.
No. I'm not ready to cut Tibbs. Whoa, no. Players, one thing. The coach, I'm not trying to have that much turnover, but I think the expectation is, and it's not even necessarily going back to being the 4 seed and making a dent in the playoffs. You hope that you can continue on winning and create like some sort of foundation for these young guys to see. I think that's the plan. If anyone thought that there is no way you could convince me saying this team was going to go to an Eastern Conference Finals, we had people out there saying that. Hell no. Saw that a mile away that this team was not going to do that. If you could at least, if the max ceiling was getting to a second round playoff and like second round of the playoffs and an exit, that was a max for this team from the get-go. But what we see right now is that with Kemba Walker, as you point out, he doesn't fit. Evan Fournier doesn't fit. And the fact is that Tibbs wants to run this team like last season instead of adapting to what we added. And I think there is actual talent on this team. I just don't think they all fit. And then we are asking these guys to do. It's like, hey, Kemba Walker, I want you to be a off-ball shooting guard. It's like, bro, I have not done that my entire career.
Yeah, I need you to D up and switch on screens. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? Have you watched my film? Like, this is not why I'm here.
Go ahead, Ari. What do you guys say?
No. So I'm literally right in between you guys. So obviously, I think that they wanted to bring. When you have all these, like, I've been on Knicks fan TV, so a lot of the ex-players come in and they always criticize the Knicks for not having any continuity. It's a new group every single year, right? And that's the whole problem. So the front office was thinking, all right, we made the 4 seed. Let's bring back these guys. And in the playoffs, what got exposed is that we had no shot creators besides Randle. So they didn't end up getting Kemba Walker, who, yeah, he's not good. He's a flawed player, but one thing he can do is get his own shot. Whether it goes in or not is different, but he can get it. Evan Fournier has shown flashes in Orlando and even a little bit in Boston that he could create. He was able to create his own shot also, and they got him back. And then they wanted to bring back everybody else and just take some pressure off of Randle. That was the whole idea. But the thing about it is that, number one, the pieces don't fit because Kemba, Fournier, Randle, RJ, Burks, they all need the ball in their hands to be most effective. So now you have 5 guys who cannot play off ball really on the same team. All right. That's number one. And number two, it's what John said. Like, last year was the anomaly because, listen, let's face it, man. Like, there was a global pandemic and there was no fans in the stands and you weren't allowed to leave your hotel room. And like, people were legitimately scared, like really scared about COVID back then. The travel restrictions and the practice, everything was completely different, man. So what I agree with John is like, Alec Burks, he's been in the league for like 7 years. You have enough data on him to know that he's not a 30-point per game scorer. So
starting point guard too. Forget 30 point
guard either.
30 point starting point guard. That's what we ask of Alec Burks. It's insane.
So he's not that guy. This is my whole thing about Randle. He's not the guy from last year because you had 6 years of data before that saying he wasn't that guy. That's what I'm saying. Like, you knew that was the anomaly. Like, if you know statistics, his performance last year was multiple standard deviations away from the normal he does, right? And that's why people are so shocked. People are like, how did he, like, it's like I was watching Carton, whoever the hell he's with these days, and it's like this must be the the fastest fall from grace out of any New York star on any team. And in my head, I'm like, he had the fastest rise of any New York star. It goes up fast, it comes down fast, bro. It's like it's fucking gravity, bro. It's just like stop. It's like buying Zoom at like 400. It's like fuck, man. I'm getting whacked in that, dude. I'm getting annihilated in this shit, dude.
Shout out to Zoom right now as we're on the Zoom platform.
Oh, we're on Zoom. I didn't even think about that, actually.
It's like Con Edison, bro. You live in New York, go buy some Con Edison stuff.
Yeah.
Leave the lights on.
Unfortunately, my stock picking is not as good as my basketball calls, but yeah. That's my take, man. So I agree with both of you. I'm in the middle, but they should have saw this coming.
Yeah. So here's the question, right? Like, what do we do now? We should have saw it coming. We should have saw it coming. We did or we didn't. We tried to do the continuity thing. Jeff Van Gundy's making fun of us in prime time.
Yo, Jeff Van Gundy. If no one watched that, I live, as you guys know, I live in Boston, so I don't get MSG like every single night through League Pass. So I was forced ESPN, and I loved it, man. I was like, yo, I've been saying this shit especially when it gets to like guys who are just there's no energy. There's no continuity. There's nothing. And you have $100 million man who's not playing like $100 million man. And that shit bothers me. Especially when I can tolerate if it didn't. I wasn't expecting Randle to be like a 40% 3-point shooter, this elite like mid-range shooter over like with toughest shots possible. I expected somewhere to come back down, like somewhere in the middle from what he did in New Orleans and what he did last season. But this is a drop. This is a massive drop. And the fact that you can visually watch this guy choose when he feels like playing is just my biggest gripe with this guy. Like I can tolerate you going out 110% every night and it's not falling for you. I can deal with that. I can't deal with you being like, I'm not feeling it tonight, man. I'm not gonna make my rotations. I'm going to jog, getting back on offense. We have a fast break opportunity. Let me bring the ball up and go my pace and then back your way all the way down from the 3-point line and then get double teamed, triple teamed, and cause a turnover, and then throw my hands up because no one else moved for me. Like, I can't tolerate that shit, bro. I can't tolerate that shit.
No.
Listen, I'm actually with you on this point. So I've been labeled as a Randle apologist today because I got on Spaces with my boy Jolito, who runs it. Him and Cedric and I Hate Sean. They run the Spaces every day at noon after the game on Twitter. And so I've been seeing Jolito at the games. He's like, dude, you have to come on Spaces. I'm like, all right, I'll get on the Spaces. And it was just so much going on. And I ended up being the Randle apologist because on one hand, it's just not his fault. Like, it's just like the actual like wins and losses are not his fault. The fact that the starting lineup stinks is not his fault. It's the fact that they don't have a point guard and their shooting guard doesn't play defense. Okay. That's the actual answer. However, I am 100% on board with you, Alex. Like, the way and that's why the Knicks fans are so emotional, right? Because like, we're putting in so much effort. We talk about it every day. We're in the Spaces. We're all over our own media. Plus, we show up to the games. Like, we're tired, right? We're tired of this. Like, we smelled that like sweet smell of fourth seed playoffs, like home court. Like, we smelled all that for 1 second, and now we're back here. So we're pissed. I agree, but. And there's a big but. Julius Randle acting the way he is my issue. Like, I agree with you. If he's shooting baskets and they're not going in, no problem. If he's being a little passive aggressive and playing point guard because he doesn't have a point guard and he's like, everyone's mad at me because I shoot the ball too much, here, I won't shoot. Kind of like what Kobe did, right? And that's his boy, that's his mentor. So I'm with him. But again, like, yeah, I have to go back to it. Like, watching him score 4 points, like, not look at the basket the first half of the Pelicans game, or, just like, it's one thing to like sit on the bench like Alfred Payton and like kind of look disengaged. It's another thing to like stand outside and stare at the whole team while they're talking.
Dude,
like that was a weird image. It really was a weird image. And he's
so
making
wild.
a point.
Hold on, and he's also
he's not doing this like. He's not doing this like, oh, my bad, I didn't like. He's like, no, I know people are taking pictures of me. I'm giving you the thumbs down. Look at me 25 feet away from my bench, like staring at the team.
And then on top of that, decides not to talk to the media because that's the one. This is
he talks to the media after they beat the Clippers. He'll talk to the media on the win when he drops 20, but dude.
Okay, here's the thing, guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing with the media. And I think this is why I'm I guess an overall Randle apologist. We know as Knicks fans that James Dolan and the New York Knicks control the media. They control what interviews you do, who you talk to, when you talk to them, and everything. And on top of that, they paid the fine, right? To just give away the answer here. They're the ones that took it. So the fact that they're treating Randle like this, I think that's what's shifting everything. Because Evan Fournier is like, dude, what are you guys talking about? Like, I was told that when I come here, I have to act a certain way, do this, do that, and take it. And he's watching Randle, and he's like, this is not what's happening.
What's going on? So there's a different standard for somebody. This is the whole shit.
Oh, that's the issue. This is the whole shit. There's definitely a different standard with Randle within the locker room,
from the play,
from
out everywhere. Yes. And I think this is a good point to let Ari come in. So Ari, what do you want to see with this? I know we talked about Bleacher Report come out with Burks, Walker, Fournier on the block.
That was Windhorst, though. That wasn't Bleacher Report.
Yeah, you're right.
They just copied
They aggregate. You're right. It was Windhorst. They just aggregated it. And then you had
Windhorst
Ian Begley. Yeah, Windhorst is real. Bleacher Report likes to create things. And then we saw Ian Begley say, Randle, he's out there. There's talks about Randle now.
Randle, the Magic Johnson of Knicks reporting. Like, it has to be real.
Yeah. So what are you thinking? All right. What are the moves that what are the moves that you see that you want to see? I should say, what are the moves that you want to see?
Oh, dude, that's easy. I want to see every single vet go besides Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson. Gibson, just because of he's like a real vet, and he plays defense, and like you can't trust these bigs staying healthy, so you need some kind of insurance. And Derrick Rose, the reason why I'd keep him is because has the most cachet on the team, probably the most respect, and he's the only vet that I could see making people around him better. So I'd keep him. But Burks, I mean, he's been trash lately, but I thought before he was playing pretty nice before recently. I thought maybe you could get a little Marcus Morris situation and like maybe get like a late first, like a 28th pick or something for him. I would have done that. Fournier, I mean, terrible guy. He doesn't fit on this team. He doesn't play defense, and with RJ Barrett balling the way he is, and now you have Cam Reddish. I don't see the point in taking up $20 million a year from him. So I'd literally just get him. Like, I don't need anything for him. You could take this guy, just get the book money off my books, right? Like, get the money off my books type thing for him. That contract does not seem friendly, regardless of what anyone says. And obviously, the elephant in the room, man, is Randle, man. And listen, I think it's best for both parties to part ways. The way he's acting sounds like a guy who demanded a trade or someone who knows he's getting traded anyway. You're not going to go to New York media. You know that when you're not going to talk to the media after the losses, when you're standing away from the huddle, when you're not making rotations, you know you're going to get shit for that, man. And he's still doing it. So it sounds like he knows he's on his way out, or he wants to get out, or he requested it. But in the long run, to John, about John, he didn't have a point guard last year, and he balled out. You know what I mean? Alfred Payton's not a real point guard, bro. He's all right.
D Rose was,
but he was playing garbage when D Rose was playing this year also, dude. He was pretty whack regardless. Yeah, and Reggie Bullock was a real defender, and Evan Fournier is not, but that has nothing to do with shooting 41% from 2, 30% from 3.
The whole entire team. I must have went to like the last 6 games I attended. We didn't hit one free throw. We have not hit a free throw, and we would have beat the Cavs. We would have been in right there with the Hornets. We would have been a real contender in 9 or 10 of these games that we lost.
But none of them were because of Randle. Randle. It was because Grimes hit shots. RJ's balling out. Okay, Mitch is playing like a beast. That's why. It's not Randle who's doing this. You know what I mean? And that's why I think we should trade these guys, because the people that are contributing right now are Grimes, is RJ. Quickly he was pretty whack yesterday, but he still has flashes. Mitch has been a beast, which is a whole different. I don't even know what to even think about the Mitch situation, but I mean, I wouldn't hate it if they trade him, because I think he's the same situation as Randle. I think contract years, man, these guys really go hard. I think they really go hard in their contract years, dude. That's why Randle, when Randle decides to play hard or not, he didn't decide last year. He's like, I got tens of millions of dollars on the line.
This is my biggest fear, because you always bring this up too, saying what's weight off to pay this last season. And here's my biggest fear is that even with Randle, because he's getting paid as the 45th best player in the league, which you put him around the Drew Holiday area with the cap that's going to go up to it's 112 right now. If it goes up to 119 next season, and then in a few years we have the CBA done, you're going to have max contracts. If Steph Curry was groundbreaking with $200 million, they're saying after the next CBA it's going to be 300. So it's going to be talking about pennies relatively to what his contract actually would be. So, and this is just where I'm getting at. If we waited and he did another contract year like this, and then we gave him the max, I'd be shitting myself. I'd be like, yo, I'd give an actual max for that guy. So I'm actually happy he has this type of money, because I think somewhere in there is a third option on a team that's with the right guy. If he's paired with someone who has that alpha personality, someone like a LeBron James, someone like a Kevin Durant.
Forget all. I feel like that. If he was on Memphis, if he was on the Memphis Grizzlies right now, he'd be in the MVP talk. He'd be
because it's not his team. Yeah, if it's as long as it's not his team, I feel like he can have that mentality to go in there and be that type of guy. That's just my opinion.
I have mixed feelings about that. I see what your argument is. So my whole thing was that don't pay him, keep him, and have him prove it again that it's real. But what you're saying is because it's another contract year, he would have proved it was real. He would have played harder and actually done it, right? And we don't know if it's.
We won't know.
Yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know. But what I will say is this. People did not expect Julius Randle to be that nice last year. I felt like he snuck. I felt it was a little Jeremy Lin stuff. He kind of snuck up on teams.
Oh, for
sure. They weren't really keying up on him. He wasn't the guy, so they weren't really playing him hard. And then you had the COVID situation. These people probably didn't even want to play. They were whatever. I think he capitalizes on that. But I don't think he listen. I don't hate Randle as a person.
Same.
I don't hate him at anything. I don't wish harm for him. I know, listen, I don't feel sorry for the guy at all because he's making $117 million. I don't care if you get booed, but I could understand how it can be difficult for someone in his position to deal with that situation. Not that I empathize with him. I wouldn't. I'd switch places with him like that. But I get it, the mental aspect of the game. I just don't think I don't think he's built from New York, and I think he's a win now player on a team that's not ready to win now. Why not trade? Like, even if he was playing really well, he's not fit for this team. Like, he's not fit for. He's 28 years old, 27. He's ready to win it. He's in his prime. This team is not winning anything with him as the best player or even the second best player. You could trade the whole farm and bring in Spider Mitchell. You got Spider and Julius. It's a second round exit. It's like, it doesn't make sense for him, regardless of how he plays, to be on this team. Now you just had his stock drop. So now you're not going to get as much from him as you did last year. But you could still get rid of him so RJ could get the ball, man, and let him run plays, dude.
I agree, man. Give
right,
RJ
so what's the
ball.
trade? What's the trade?
For Randle?
Like you have Randle right now. You said maybe you mentioned real quick that we should have maybe traded him last year when his stock was high. I would have been the first person on the line to burn down MSG if we trade Randle last year in the middle of almost the best season in a decade and a half. Okay, right. So I would have lost my mind. So we're sitting here. I get where we're at, and I agree with you. You know, I'll take you and your word, right? I and you're the GM, Ari. Like, you have Randle here. You could trade him on February 3rd, right, which is in a week, and then you only have a week to figure it out. So you have between February 3rd and February 10th to trade
They've been figuring
Randle.
it out way before then, man. They've been figuring this. They've been taking calls way before this.
I'm just saying, you only have a week to actually make the deal. So, Ari, like, you're sitting here, you're talking Randle's not a fit for this team. He's built for now. We're trying to fight for the future. We know his contract. Like, what's the move?
I mean, listen, I actually never thought that they would even consider trading Randle until the reports came out today and just what's going on. So I haven't really thought of like a target, but like, for example, last year, Vucevic got 2 first-round picks, and he had a better year than Vucevic last year. Can't go wrong with picks because you can flip that in an eventual Spider trade or whatever. So you can never go wrong with picks. I don't think you're gonna get 2 first rounds for Julius these days, but I'd go for a draft capital, or I'd go for a stretch 5, or I'd go for a point guard. But I don't like I wouldn't. Everyone's talking about De'Aaron Fox for Randle, and I think overall that would be a better move. But it's not going to do anything really. Like, yeah. I don't like. I'd rather have, like, if you told me today that's the trade, I'll be like, all right, whatever, because I just think Randle's that toxic for this team. But De'Aaron Fox can't shoot. I don't want a point guard that can't shoot. I don't think that's the answer either. I'd rather get one first-round draft pick for him.
Dude.
Or,
De'Aaron Fox is making up until 37 mil up to 2025, 26. So it's not I don't care. We'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what's like annoying me a little bit, because and that's why I'm fighting, in the Knicks spaces with seemingly like everyone. I seem like a crazy person, but it's just like, I don't understand the light everything on fire. Randle sucks. Let's trade him. Like, for who? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, Alex, for who, bro? Like, for who?
I mean, I would look, man. If so, you can get a point, like, to R's point, like a stretch 5. Like, that means the deal.
That means you have to move the re-sign of Mitch.
Yeah, you'd have to.
That means you have Noel on the books. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff.
If I'm moving Randle, I agree with Ari's points. Like, the guys I'm looking at, I'm even looking at to even for another wing, like, to even put next to RJ, even though we have Cam, like, because Cam's still unproven. Like, anything, like, if you can get talent, just bring it in. We'll figure it out. We need talent regardless. But a point guard, like, I don't like De'Aaron Fox. The contract is meh. As Ari pointed out, he doesn't shoot. I don't think he makes the team better. I think that just puts us in a situation to build around De'Aaron Fox. Not really the way I'm looking to do it.
It's not the answer.
He is not the answer.
Exactly.
So this is like the issue when it comes to like moving Randle. It's like, to your point, John, who do we move him for? I mean, if you want, here's something. What if you moved him? And this is here's one. Portland. What if you moved him to Portland? You take CJ McCollum with as an older guy, and you get some draft capital with him. Just bring him over. Would you do that?
No brainer, of course.
Okay.
What? You think you're gonna get CJ McCollum and the draft pick for Randle?
No, I don't
Oh,
think so. No. I think
Well,
it's
we
gonna be,
would
it's
give
gonna-
out.
it-
We
no,
would
we'd
give
have-
out the draft picks.
Yeah. We'd
Oh,
have
we
to give out
didn't give up the draft picks.
Yeah, sorry.
Ooh.
But that's the thing is,
Um,
and he's making almost 10 mil more than Randall. And like, what is he gonna do? He's gonna eat up. Like, that's my dilemma with a CJ McCollum, a Bradley Beal. You talk about Tibbs and minutes. Like, RJ is gonna diminish if you bring in those types of guys. Like,
Yeah, of course.
those are RJ's position. So like the only like from my perspective, if you need to trade Randall, if it's too toxic, if he needs to be traded, honestly, go to Utah. Go to Utah.
That's
and
another
give
good
me Spider.
That's a
But
good, that's
like,
a, yeah.
but that's the only thing is you have to like concede with the fact that this is not going to fix your team.
No, of course not.
You're honestly going to get worse because the second unit has been amazing, and we hate talking about it, but the second unit has been amazing with IQ, who Tibbs played last year, Grimes, who Tibbs is playing this year, right? Like they're holding down our second unit, and then Obi, who also played a little bit last year, obviously not that much this year because of Randall. And now we're going to throw him in the starting lineup. So it would be Donovan Mitchell, RJ, and Obi Toppin. Like, that's a terrible starting lineup if I'm being honest. So even though Mitchell sounds great, he's an all-star. So we're going to get rid of Randall. It doesn't sound appealing, bro.
So then this is where it goes to Ari's point. Then you just try to get as much draft capital as you can if you got to move off of Randall, which that's probably the more likely option. Then you just say, go to Portland and say, hey, take Randall, give us some draft capital. I don't know. If you could try to get Anthony Simon, whatever package deal you can do, bring that young guy in because I like the way he's been hooping, but that might even be a stretch.
You got to target the small market teams that have to overpay for stars, like Sacramento, freaking, I mean, okay,
Utah
win now, but like Utah, yeah, like the teams that
Dude, if we can get SGA from OKC, I mean, I'll give them whatever they want. I'll drive Randall.
Oh, I mean, that's no brainer, but
yeah.
I think the draft picks is the smart move because you're freeing up cap space and you're building draft capital. And yeah, you may not be better. You may probably be worse, maybe. But like, what does it even matter then? It's like you're not going anywhere anyway.
You're not going anywhere for the next couple of years.
What's the alternative? There's no listen, there's no way to slice a cat the right, like skin a cat the right way. There's no 100% way. If you have Randall on your team and you trade everyone for Damian Lillard or Spida, you're a good second round exit. There's no world that's possible with Julius Randle on this team that is going to be a contender for a championship. So you cut the losses while it happens, and you want to sell it at the high point, but whatever, it's too late. Cut it now, and that's it. That's the way I look at it. And build around the youth. Listen, we're in a different situation. This is what I was thinking today. It's like everyone's tired of like the lottery play, like not making the playoffs and stuff like that, but this is the first time we actually have like young real players. Like when Melo was on the team, we had no draft picks, we had no young guys. All right, with Stephon Marbury and Zach Randolph and all those guys were capped out, no draft picks, no future. We have Grimes, we have RJ, we have Reddish, we have Quickly, we have Obi. That's the 5 guys right there, not even including Mitch if you want to re-sign them. That are young guys that are going to be able to contribute on winning teams. Grimes, RJ are guaranteed pieces on a team. Reddish has the talent to do that, right? Quickly, it may not be. Maybe he's not a star. Maybe he's a 6th man. Whatever. These guys can play, man. And it's like we never were in that situation. And I think that if Leon Rose just understood, if these guys just knew that, like, the Knicks fans could get behind a team that's losing so long as we have talent on the team and we're building the core together, we could take those L's. They're different types of L's than the Melo years when we were capped out and we just sucked. We had no future. We actually have a future if we play it right. We could take these L's, man.
No, that's a fact. It's not Clea Anthony Early. It's not Hulu Munson.
The fucking guy's name. Alexei Shved.
Alexei Shved.
I missed
that.
At least he gave us some productive time. So
he gave us something.
Are those untouchables for you?
I mean, listen,
IQ, Grimes, and RJ, and Mitch, because I feel like those 4, and I guess Obi or Randall, but everyone's trading Randall, so it's got to be Obi, right? Like you need those 5; they can't be traded.
Yeah, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, man, is there any like Luka's on the block? You're not going to trade these guys like you probably would. You know what I mean? But like
they're not on the block.
I know,
and that's why we're here. That's why we're here, Ari, because all we're hearing is the nonsense, the craziness, right? Knicks fan TV. Yeah. People are calling in. Let's trade Randle for for one. Somebody wants a sandwich, and the other one wants LeBron. Right? Like there's
DeJounte Murray. People are like DeJounte. They just make this up in their head, man.
DeJounte Murray is not going to be available. He's not going to be available.
We'll trade Richard Randle and a second rounder for DeJounte
Murray. Call
Murray.
Popovich and tell him, yo, you want Randle on your squad? Like, what do you like? How's that conversation going to go?
No, he'd be like, I'm intrigued. Who am I giving up? They'd say DeJounte Murray. Be like, all right, just hang up. Not even a word. Just hang up the phone. We're not even doing this.
It's tough, man. Like, and that's really where I'm sitting, because I love the Windhorse pod that came out, and which now Bleacher Report took it, and now it's going viral, where he talked about how the Knicks need to trade Burks, trade Fournier, trade Kemba. I mean, I've been screaming that for weeks. I need those guys to be traded. That's the only way this team will be unlocked, and I think Randle will be unlocked. So I'm not dying for Randle to be traded, but if that's gonna make teams call us. And then we'll start talking from there. I kind of like that strategy, just to see what's up and just to poach for next year. But if we're just sticking this year, we're going to stick with realistic trades for the Knicks. Like, I'll take LeVert for Fournier. Like that money matches. I'll trade for Justin Holiday for to get him back on the squad for like a couple picks. But nothing is going to fix this team. Like, I don't see anyone unless we do something insane, like trade for Bradley Beal. Like, it'll change up the chemistry of this team. It'll make me intrigued, excited, etc. But it's not going to do it. Like, honestly, what would intrigue me the most? And nobody's going to like this, but if we get Eric Bledsoe, or if we get, if we get Buddy Hield for a Burks or a Fournier, like if those are the changes you make, and we get some money off our books, and Eric we kind of have the same thing
away from this team, please. Do not.
Okay, so you would rather have more money on your books and Burks at point guard, or Evan Fournier? Like, even Tibbs doesn't want Fournier in there.
Okay, give me the idea for Burks. Let me hear who are we getting? Who are we getting? I mean, for Bledsoe, let's hear it, because the Clippers don't even have picks. So who are we getting?
I mean, if they literally call us and say we'll give you Bledsoe for Fournier or LeVert for Fournier, I am driving that man to the airport. Which airport do you like? We'll get your money off our books, and we'll be good to go. We'll save a year of money at the very least, and a player will play basketball. Like, Karis LeVert will play basketball in this lineup.
I'll take Karis LeVert. Eric Bledsoe is a whole other story.
Like, really? Like, you don't want Bledsoe starting instead of maybe Burks? Like, you don't really? I know you saw that 9-game win streak.
I'd rather rock with Deuce. I'd rather see what Deuce does.
Thank you.
I take the L's with Deuce. Don't matter.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Deuce.
Fair. That's fair, but you're saving money. You know what I'm trying? Like, if you want to build for the future, if teams, you're talking about stock going down. Like, what do you think the Burks and Fournier stock are going to be this time next year?
Expiring contract with the pick attached for Burks. That's what I want. Give me a pick. Hopefully late first rounder. If I can't get that, give me a second. Give me a 2 second round.
I think you can even get that for Fournier. I think if Sacramento's down bad because they're trying to get some veterans, you can say, hey, man, you want Fournier? Because you don't get veterans out there. You can have there's a team option with this guy. You can keep him.
Sacramento's down bad because their books suck. Like, they want to get rid of everyone. So we would have to eat terrible. Like, that's why we get Fox. That's why we get Halliburton, because they'd add some terrible contracts for us to eat. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, the only time I'd be ready to eat a contract, have like ruin our books a little, is like for Dinwiddie. There's somebody who's gonna pretend to be a point guard. I'll eat some minutes, but if for another shooting guard, for another wing, for a power forward, for Zach LaVine, played with Tibbs, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, Karl Anthony Towns. Let's trade Randle and all of our picks and some rookies for Karl Anthony Towns. And then what? Now we're back to square one.
That's why you just got to build the assets, man. You got to take the draft picks or the young guys and keep your cap flexibility. You're right. There's nothing, man. There's nothing you can do to have this team be a contender right now. So that's why I'm just looking to the future, man. You know how you make this team a contender? You give RJ Barrett more usage. You run the offense through him, turns into an all-star next year. Then all of a sudden, okay, now you have one piece. Cam Reddish shows that he can play a little bit, right? And then Obi gets more minutes, and these guys get better. And then you have more picks and stuff, and then people want to come here. You sign people in free agency in the year, 2 years down the line or whatever. That's how you have to do it, man, because there's no quick fix. And you're just guaranteed L's. Like, not guaranteed L's, you're guaranteed not to win anything with Julius Randle on the squad like this right now, man. It's just not.
So you're done. You're done with this year.
Oh, I mean, dude. Listen, the only way I can see this year actually turning around with the team that they have is like they trade some of these guys and Cam Reddish comes in and starts like really, really, really balling. And then Derrick Rose comes back and he's like D Rose again. And then Randle, if he's still on the team, is like playing like Draymond. Not like obviously not like Draymond, but like passing the ball. And even then it's like your first round exit. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't matter. It's over. It's no competition.
All right, Ari's done. You're so done. You're so done.
If
you get a play-in game, we might win it. But you're officially on the sellers. You're officially on the Knicks or sellers.
I've been selling since the 5th grade. I've been selling. No, I've been selling for sure. Listen, man. That's the only person who I'm like. Kind of like what I trade a lot of the kids and stuff for is in like Randle or whatever is like I love Spider Mitchell, man. I think that he is the guy who's plays the most important position on the court. He's like the primary ball handler. He's from New York. He's same timeline as RJ. Like he's like a year or two older or whatever, like 3 years old. He's under 25, right? He's under 25, right? Right, Alex?
I think he is under 25. Yeah.
Whatever. He's a younger guy.
He's from your hood.
Yeah, he's from.
I get it.
He's from the area, and he fits the need we do, and he's a shot creator, and he stays healthy. He's a guy that, with him and RJ, I feel like you could build around that. But they're gonna want RJ in any kind of. They're not gonna even discuss anything else about RJ. And then, would I trade RJ for him? I probably would do it, but I'm not willing to gut the whole team for him to. Like for him to play with Randle, like that's for sure. Like Randle, there's no way to slice it, man. It's over.
But Gobert and Randle is nice. Like you could start the conversation with Mitchell and Randle. You could start the conversation. I don't think that Utah is going to shut the phone. I really don't. Especially if they're getting the inkling that Mitchell wants out eventually, and they're not going to be able to re-sign him. That's a team that needs a superstar to come in that they embrace.
Well,
Randle's not a superstar.
Yeah, he's not a superstar. He's just a star.
He's a star. All right, a star. I won't say super. I'll say all. How about that?
Average starter. Average starter.
He's an all-star, man. Come on.
And I get
least most inefficient high usage player in the entire NBA, according to Jonathan Macri. 41% from 2, 31% from 3, 3.5 turnovers a game. Worst plus minus on the team. Doesn't even show up to press conferences. So if you call that a star, star. I don't want any stars on my team. I don't want any stars on my team.
I didn't realize the stat book now shows up by press conferences. Mark Berman will be so hyped.
Yeah, Mitchell. So Mitchell's 25. I like Mitchell and RJ next to each other for sure. That's box office, man. I mean that's legit. Thing is that as you said, you'd have to put RJ in that deal to get Donovan Mitchell. I think it's all unless you're ready to give up a lot of draft picks for Utah. I mean, I don't even know if I'm ready to. Well, he signed the extension, so he won't be available for a while. But the thing is, we're still like a building team too, so we need those draft picks if we're moving these guys. That's the other thing. And
I'm with you.
It's just tough. And you get Donovan at the point guard, you get a shooting guard. He's so versatile, man. God damn. That'd be great. I hope
he get back-to-back 50 balls in the playoffs, bro. That's what that guy does.
Yeah.
Randle had 50 points in 5 games probably in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like there's different levels to this. Guys from Connecticut.
Well, Donovan's your one. Randle Donovan? Hell yeah.
He looked come on. He looked so much better. That's the one thing I don't really agree with. Like he looked so much better when he had Conley in there, when he had Rubio in there. Like
number one.
He's better with a point guard. Like I'm telling you guys right now, if the Knicks trade Randle, even straight up for Mitchell, doesn't matter.
I wouldn't want
obviously
Mitch,
a bunch of picks, a bunch of nonsense. The billboard in New York City is going to be one basketball, no point guard. How can Mitchell and RJ coexist? That's literally going to be the story.
Here's the thing. He's not a full-time point guard if he came here. I wouldn't want him as a full-time point guard. But the fact that he could be versatile and play point, where it's like you're in the playoffs, you need somebody else to do it. There he is. He's right there. You gotta shorten that rotation, and then you're like,
bro.
That's that dude. That's that dude.
Killer, bro. 50 balls in the playoffs, bro.
I agree.
It's not a joke, dude.
He's gonna wear a Mets hat.
Yeah.
This game, like fans.
I'm not a Mets fan.
Who cares? I'm a diehard Yankees fan, but people, that's we're gonna go from that. That's just our dream. We're dreaming of that. The hometown kid, who likes the baseball team.
Can you imagine him, Obi? That's two hometown kids you got. That's legit. It's legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna work, but whatever.
We can dream. We can dream, man. There's reports out there.
Just trade me Kemba for like Justin Holiday, and I'll be happy, guy. Give me trade Fournier out of here, Burks out of here. Like, actually, last thing. I know Alex and I have talked about it a bunch. There's the news that this guy wants a ridiculous extension, but the one name that's been out there, which can kind of fit on the squad, is Jeremy Grant. So, and he fits Fournier's money, but the thing is, he was gonna want cash. However, you're talking about getting money off your books. Like, if we somehow scheme the Grant trade and then just don't sign him, like, that's money off our books and we save a year.
Give me a pick attached to it then or something. I can take any schmuck who makes a lot of money. He's off the
Jeremy
book.
Grant is not a schmuck. Come on.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, you're just gonna have the same problem with Obi again. Now he's playing behind Jeremy Grant. It's like, I just think that these are all maybe make you a little better, maybe make you a little worse, but you have to be ready to win, and we're not ready to win. And the 4 seed last year has Tibbs and Leon thinking that we were like, just a couple of shot creators away from getting past the Hawks and a healthy Mitchell Robinson. We're in the second round, and then against Philly, Ben Simmons goes crazy. Maybe all of a sudden you win that, you're in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? It's like it's not that easy. And I just thought, I knew it was fake. I knew it was fake news the whole time. It was so obvious, but listen, man, at least it could be so much worse, because if we do trade like RJ 2 first rounders quickly and Obi for like Dame or something, and Dame and Randle, like I'm coming on any Knicks podcast ever again after that. Like, you just wasted the next 10. You would literally waste the next 5 years of my life just with like second round exits forever and ever and ever. So, it's good. Like, sometimes, how they say you gotta be rock bottom before you come up when you're doing drugs or whatever you're doing or whatever your life, you have to hit rock bottom before you change. Hopefully in Miami yesterday with Randle, doing his garbage again and not even talking a thing, maybe that's rock bottom, and now it's gonna cause something to change, man. And hopefully it's about my move is picks, man. Give me picks and young players on rookie deals or cheap deals that are expiring soon.
Tibbs doesn't play rookies, right? That's the narrative. What are you going to do with picks, dude? You were talking about for the next 5 years.
Tibbs going to have to play rookies. So I was telling Alex, what I was saying to Alex before is, I fucking hate Tom Thibodeau, bro. Okay.
Oh, my
God. However, I wouldn't fire him, because you cannot have that position being a turnstile. You can't have the turnover in that position the way the Knicks have. So Leon got to sit down with him and be like, listen, man, I'm taking away your little toy, Julius, over here. Hey, you don't have the toy anymore. And these are your pieces. You want to keep your job, to play these guys, mix in your vets here and there. This is where the thing is player development. That's it. If you can't handle it, then you don't have to stay here anymore. That's basically it.
And I think Tom Thibodeau actually could be a good coach for young. Like, he's been good. He's developed talent in the past when he's been with the Bulls and so forth. I think if you actually force his hand to actually play some young guys, I think you get these young guys actually like up there and running. And I think that's what he is. I think he's a stopgap coach, man. He's not going to be the guy that wins it all for you.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, you need somebody who can lay the foundation. Kerr. Yeah, Steve. Yeah, exactly. Or like the Dwayne Casey to Nick Nurse. You need somebody there to create that foundation for everybody to do it.
We had our Nick Nurse, Alex. We had our Nick Nurse.
He's the culture guy.
Mike Miller?
Mr. Miller.
Mike-
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. On that note, yo, Ari, it's been great having you on, man, and talking Knicks with you, man.
Absolutely.
Please let our listeners know where they can find you, where to follow you, and all that type of stuff. If you got anything,
Four-time fan champ. Four-time champ.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. I'll keep my. Just find me on Twitter, Ari from Manhattan with one M. So ARIFROM and then Manhattan, only one M. Find me on Twitter, and you can catch me. Well, I'm not showing up to Knicks Fan TV until someone gets traded, but come February 10th, I'll be back on Knicks Fan TV moderating and calling in then, and you catch me on Spaces and stuff. So Ari from Manhattan, and of course, John, Alex, love talking to you guys. I'll come on whenever you want. The day Randle gets traded, maybe you want to have me back on. I'll love to come back on. I'll bring some fucking champagne or some shit. Whatever it is.
I'm hyped for Knicks Fan TV Ari from Manhattan trade deadline special on the 10th.
Man.
Let's go.
That's it. Let's do it. Let's pray to God. Some of these guys go.
We're gonna play back some of this conversation today.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I don't even need Randle gone right now. Like, I love it, but like, just get rid of Fournier or Kemba.
Please.
Get rid of Burks. As long as Cam Reddish getting me some minutes and we get some money off the books, you give me a pick or something, I'll take it. I'll take that.
Right.
You can also find Ari on the basketball court. We used to hoop back in the day. Are you still hooping, man? Are you still hooping anymore?
I do hoop, but I don't have as much time as I did before, and I tore my Achilles after back in our days when we used to hoop. So I'm definitely not the same, but I do still hoop. I probably hoop like once every month, maybe 3 weeks or something. I'll go to the rec and hoop it up. What about you?
I'm on the same. I'm at the same spot too, man. If I get, you know how it is, man. When you're busy,
Alex
you get
was
older.
a hustler. Alex was a scrappy one. You get in you like John Stark's defense. He'll like get up in you, chase you around 90 feet. Like that's what Alex.
Rugby Alex.
Yeah, man. That was relentless out there. Then you got Ari with his Ari would give you the shake and bake with his crossover. It was legit, man. I was call me off. He called me. Yo, he caught people sleeping. Because the other thing, Ari would walk in with his New Balances. This kid would just walk in with his New Balances. People be like, "Oh, okay, this kid's got New Balances on." Then he crosses you up, and then you're like,
Yeah, exactly. 5'9" Jewish kid coming in with New Balances. You're like, all right, this guy sucks, whatever. Then bang is like, that was it.
Yeah, man. We got to hoop, man. We got to hoop again. Hoop again soon at some point.
Kids with nice sneakers stink. That's a fact.
That is a fact. That is a fact. And on that note, all right, thank you for coming on. Everyone, you can find Ari on Twitter, as he said. You can also find him moderating in Knicks Fan TV in the chat. He's all over the place, man. If Knicks are involved, this man's around. So please make sure to go give him a follow, and he'll talk Knicks to you to the day he dies. All right. But everyone, thank you for tuning in for another Knicks episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast. Please make sure to give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, we're available on all other audio platforms, whether it's Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, hit that like button when you watch a video and hit that notification bell. That way, you know when a new episode drops. And while you're there, Winning Picks Weekly, as I said earlier, come on. Don't you want to hear John and video producer Greg go down the NFL slate, talk about some NBA betting, and get your picks in and make sure you're doing it right? These guys will help you out. And the last and certainly not least, guys, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All right, everyone. We'll catch you later next week for another Knicks episode. We out.
Let's go Knicks, baby.
That was dope.